What's going on, everyone? So ever since the Oklahoma City Thunder have waived Usman Garuba, I've seen many people throw out the name as a signing for the Lakers to kind of fill out the center spot. Lakers need to fill out that center position. They still have their 14th and 15th roster spot. We all know that they're waiting around for Christian Wood, but there is the idea of like, hey, secure a center, get somebody now, and then if Christian Wood does want to come here, you'd still have that 15th roster spot. You can sign him there, and you're off to the races. And Usman is a guy that I understand why people would want him, right? He's 21 years old, so a lot of room, a lot of growth, a lot of potential. He's young enough to have been drafted in this year's draft. He was the 23rd pick back in 2021. And he's a guy that does multiple things on the court. He's a little undersized at 6'8", but he does have a 7'2" wingspan, 230 pounds, so he is sturdy. He's a guy that can switch out on the perimeter and defend out on the perimeter if need be. He's not super athletic, but he has good timing. He is a guy that could, with the proper development, with the proper just tuning, I do think can be a solid rotation piece for the Lakers. Little raw, that's something that is big with him, but that's usually the case with most 21-year-olds. Right? They're usually a little raw. He's a little foul happy at times, doesn't have the discipline to just wait. And the timing's there, but the discipline isn't. And if he could kind of figure that out, I think he could be a great impact guy. He's also a guy that understands, hey, I am a role guy. I am here to provide what is ever asked of me. He's a guy that is not going to complain or pout or cause a stir if he only plays, 10 minutes one night or plays 0 minutes the next night, right? He's a guy that understands the situation. He's a guy that just wants to play the game of basketball. And that's good, right? Because anybody that the Lakers bring in to the center position, not named Christian Wood, is probably going to be used sparingly, right? Probably you're just looking to bring somebody in to kind of fill in, 10 minutes a game, if that. When Anthony Davis is out, maybe he's filling in, say 15, 20 minutes, but you probably lean heavily on Jackson Hayes. Regardless, you just need a guy that can come in, that understands the role that is being asked of him and can fill that role. He also has the ability to stretch the floor. This is a guy that shot 40% on catch-shoot threes, so that would be something that's welcoming with this Lakers team. You could play him alongside Anthony Davis, maybe even give him a little burn at the 4 and see how that works if you needed to, although that's kind of the one position that's super heavy. But he did play the 4 with Houston in year 1. Right, when he was drafted, though it was only 24 games and it was only 10 minutes per game, still guy that can play either spot, and I think can do it very effectively. Now, here's my issue and why I don't think the Lakers should sign Usman. Now, I think the Lakers need a real true center, right? Because even if they get Christian Wood, they still wouldn't have. He's more of a power forward than he is a center, right? And it would be nice to have a true 7-foot player, right? I'd rather bring in somebody like a JaVale McGee who already has the experience, is a vet, so he can kind of provide that veteran leadership. He could be a good mentor for Jackson Hayes. You don't have to really worry about him, right? Because Usman would be he's a project. And we already have that project in Colin Castleton, and we have the project to some degree in Jackson Hayes. So it's like, do we really want 3 project bigs on our roster when we're a team that's trying to contend for an NBA championship, right? Like, if we were a young rebuilding team that's just, trying to fight for a play-in spot or something like that, sure, bring him in, let's see what he could do. But we're not, right? We're trying to win an NBA championship this year, and we have a roster that is capable of doing that. I would rather fill that out with a vet guy that you can trust in big moments. A true 7-footer that you can throw at guys, like the Jokic's of the world, right? Like the Valanciunas's of the world, the Steven Adams. Somebody that, can be a bit of a nuisance and actually has the size and the length to kind of cause some problems, right? Again, Usman, he's a guy that has a 7'2" wingspan, so he has the quality wingspan that you need to be effective, but I lean more towards let's go get a veteran round, right? Like, and look, maybe it's not JaVale McGee. There's several options. I know some people want Dwight Howard. I'm not really high on Dwight Howard at this point, but I am of the camp of like a Hassan Whiteside, but who knows, right? A lot of these teams still have to waive several players, right, to get to 15 before before the season begins. So maybe we end up seeing somebody get waived that we didn't expect that the Lakers can maybe pick up. Otherwise, go and get a guy like a JaVale McGee, I think could really kind of help more than a guy like Usman. Also, I mean, why bring in him when you could just bring in Bismack Biyombo, right? Same size. Biz is a little bigger. He also has a longer wingspan, but he's also more athletic. Again, veteran. He has the understanding and the discipline, right? So he's not going to be as foul happy as Usman would be. He's a guy that also he would understand his role. He could play in a big spot, could play in a big moment. He's not like super old, right? He's not like he's 35 or anything like that. So this is a guy that if you're going to go that route of like a 6'8" guy, then I'd rather go with like a Biz, right? He's still 30, so he's still young enough to where you could keep him for several seasons and really kind of just have him as your third or secondary big if like Jackson Hayes isn't working out or whatever, or say the following season if Hayes ends up leaving, you could re-sign Biz and he's going to be cheap. And I just think provides a little more stability. Again, I really want a true 7-footer. I really want somebody with size, even if the Lakers do get Christian Wood. Because, again, Christian Wood, can he play the 5? Sure. But he's more of a 4 than he is a 5, where it'd be nice to kind of have that bigger body for those matchups against the bigger centers in this league that we can just kind of throw at. And if the Lakers, for whatever reason, if they do want another project center, or they're just like, hey, like, we want to stick their young route, right? If we can't get Christian Wood, we want to go with somebody that's, in their 20s, then you might as well just bring in Colin Castleton. Right? You might as well just have him come in because at least he's got true size. He doesn't stretch the floor much, but his passing ability, his ability to score around the rim, his ability to finish in contact, like all of those things I think are very valuable. And he's a guy that the Lakers are very high on and that the Lakers plan to have for the foreseeable future. So why bring in another project center when you could just have Colin Castleton step in? And he provides not only the size, but he has a lot of the same issues that Usman would have. But the upside for him, I think, is greater. And I also think that he's a guy that can make more plays and more of an impact. That's just my thoughts. Maybe you feel otherwise. But I do. I think that he's a guy that you can even just run your offense through in spots. He's going to follow suit in a lot of the same ways. If he has a DNP one night, he's fine, no problem, coach. If he, ends up playing 30 minutes, fine, no problem, coach. Right? He's still extremely young. He has a ton of potential. And this is the guy that the Lakers want to use to be maybe potentially the starting center of the future. And he's 23, so it's not like he's 27 to 30 or something like that. No, he's still very young. So my thing is like, if you're going to give anybody the opportunity in the run that is a raw and development type big, why not just bring in Colin Castleton? Right? Like, that's just kind of my thoughts on the whole ordeal, right? Like, you have Colin Castleton who can come in and stay a pinch, right? You could even leave him on a two-way if you want, because he can play 56 games or whatever, and then just sign him right before the playoffs or something if no other big gets bought out, or, you don't end up doing a trade or something for another big man at some point, right? Like, there's options there for the Lakers. I would just rather lean with Colin Castleton. Look, if the Lakers sign Usman, I'm all for it, right? I'm not against it by any means, right? Like, if tomorrow we get an announcement, hey, Lakers just signed him, could I see them maybe bringing him into camp? Sure, right? But I don't know, like, how much better is he going to be than, like, maybe like a Winning Gabriel or like a Tristan Thompson, right? Tristan Thompson at least has some experience. He's a veteran guy. He's won an NBA championship, right? Like, he's a guy that you could throw in minutes and he's going to accept his role the same way. It's just, if we were a young, trying to just see where our future's headed type team, if we were these San Antonio Spurs or the Detroit Pistons or something like that, then sure, Bring him in, give him a shot. Let's see what he could do, right? But we're not. We still got LeBron. You got Anthony Davis. Austin Reeves is expected to continue where he left off last season. And this is a team that should be one of the best teams in the entire league and contending for an NBA championship. So, yes, I am all for the youth movement. I love that we're still a very young, talented roster. But you still need vets. You still need those guys that you can trust and rely on in a pinch in any given moment that have the experience. And you still need true big men, right? You still need guys that are actual 7-footers, right? Like, that was a problem, is like, outside of Anthony Davis last year, we didn't have anybody. Mo Bamba was hurt the entire time, and it's like, I don't know. I would rather go with a true center, a veteran big, or if you're going to go the young, raw, let's throw them out there and let them learn on the job, you might as well go with Colin Castleton. Those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, pass a question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you think you bring him in? Do you think you don't? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it.